She's got back on the black leather in the Cabinet room, so we should celebrate that fact. But I'll be interested if the Minister is prepared to respond.
Fletcher Tabuteau.
Thanks for the opportunity, Mr Chairman, to speak on Part 1, Clause 3, the annual rates of income tax. And I just want to say it's very much indicative of the government's focus on tax and revenue at the moment, in that they don't seem to have any focus at all whatsoever. We're essentially looking at retrospective legislation here today to bring those annual rates into line, and it speaks to me of a lack of discipline and perhaps too much revenue legislation in other areas which have been, well, I'm going to say slammed, but the tax industry was a bit more polite in saying perhaps there was a bit too much and it was getting a bit too confused, and they themselves weren't able to keep up with the...
Order. I'm going to remind members, as I've heard the chair previously remind members, that this is a very narrow part, that we have accepted the principle of the part already as part of the second reading, and that all debate on this has to be very narrowly focused. So general discussions about tax policy, speediness, focus are not relevant. Fletcher Tabuteau.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Chair. So then, if that is the case, then I will come to the question around fiscal drag. So we're dealing with Clause 3, which speaks to annual tax rates, and the question I put to the Minister and to the Government is you haven't changed these rates since 2011, I think it was. And so in all that time, essentially New Zealanders' tax rates have been going up. And so the question, Minister, is considering that is 41% of the government's overall revenue base coming from tax, that is, what is the government's position now? Is the government prepared to make a stand and say that actually it's timely for us to talk about annual tax rates? Here's our opportunity now to say to low-income earners, actually, we've been taxing you too much using these annual rates, and we need to adjust that because it is just not fair that you've been paying more tax because the government has done nothing to address the rates as outlined in Clause 3 here in this legislation. So, Minister, fiscal drag has become quite a popular conversation with New Zealanders and other members of the House. It is timely, it is pertinent. I personally think low-income earners are missing out because of the lack of changes or lack of reflection on these annual rates, and I put it to you, here's an opportunity to make a position statement for the government on how they think they should be treating New Zealanders, because I don't think they're treating them well at all. Thank you, Mr Chairman.
Stuart Nash.